What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is Wednesday, which of course means it's time for another West New York Wednesday here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from the Southern Tier Brewing Company, and they're out of Lakewood, New York, and this is their Mokah, and this is a part of their Blackwater Series, and this is the 2023 release. So they're calling this one an Imperial Stout. On the side of the label, it says ale with the natural flavors, and right underneath that, it says made with milk sugar, aka lactose. It comes in at 10% alcohol by volume, 25 IBUs at the time of review. And this bottle is just under 2 months old and also has a best by date of November 21st of 2024. So according to Southern Tier, we have quite a few months to enjoy this one. So Mokah is back, and that's funny because I've been thinking about this one over the past couple of years. I'm like, they brought back a lot of their beers in their Blackwater series from yesteryear, and Mokah was not one of them. And I was like, I wonder if they'll ever come out with it again. And here we are. Now, I did about 30 seconds of research, and in those 30 seconds, I realized a couple things. Number one, this is the first time they've released this one since 2017, and it's the first time that I'm having it since 2015, and I love this beer. This is one of my favorite in their Blackwater series, along with their oat, their chocolate, the old school creme brulee, and this is just, it's essentially an Imperial Stout with coffee and chocolate, hence the name Mokah. And yeah, I'm glad they brought it back. Now, if we're being honest though, here's the thing. The Blackwater series from Southern Tier over the past couple of years has disappointed me. A lot of the beers in the series just are misses. The Peanut Butter Cup Stout from last year, not my favorite. Hazelnut Deluxe from last year, not my favorite. They say on the label now, you know, ale with natural flavors. And back in the day, they used to actually have all of the ingredients. And this one used to say specifically coffee beans and natural chocolate flavor. Now it just says ale with natural flavors. Are they cutting corners? I have no idea. All I know is I used to love this beer. It was beautiful. Definitely got Mokah out of it. It hit the ABV quite well. So I'm hoping it's delicious. And as someone who loves Southern Tier, I have the Southern Tier branded glass, the shirt on. I've been drinking their stuff for 15 years, and I just want some of these old school beers to return and be as delicious as they used to be. It could be my palate too. You know what I mean? It's in a different place, but yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna do something like this, like a half pour. Yeah, we'll do a half pour. I think that's fair. Throw this one over here like this, and we'll swirl it up here. How does it look in the hashtag proper glassware? It probably looks all right. Probably looks fine. And it poured out like more of like a dark brown. In the glass though, it's more like pitch black. You're gonna see pitch black, my camera sucks, so it's gonna be pitch black, 100%. Hold up the light, pitch black. Has just under a finger of a straight up mocha colored head. Yeah, for sure. Or you can say brown. But yeah, has a nice mocha colored head. It has a little bit of alcohol legs on the side. And again, in the hashtag proper glassware, it looks appropriate. Let's get a nose. Yeah. So the whatever chocolate flavoring they've used in a lot of their beers, whether it's chocolate or this, it has that specific like Hershey syrup kind of vibe to it, but like a more mature and not as sweet Hershey. Like it's just like a chocolate syrup that is more authentic, if that makes any sense. Yeah, big like just chocolate syrup. Get a little bit of like a coffee roast. Underlying roasty, toasty kind of malt quality. Maybe a touch of vanilla as well. It doesn't smell boozy or anything at 10%. The one thing I've also noticed, and I don't know if this has always been the case, so I'm not going to say for sure, but a lot of these Blackwater series beers and a lot of the like their French toast imperial ale they have, and like their the sugar cookie one, a lot of these seem to be like 10% and 25 IBUs. I feel like they have a base recipe, whether it's the stout or just generic ale, that they kind of, it becomes 10% and 25 IBUs. And I don't know if that's played a role with, some of the beers for me not being as good as they used to, or as good as it seemed they used to be. This smells good. A little bit too heavy on the chocolate. This smells more like their old school chocolate than it does their Mokah, because I'm getting a little bit of like coffee roast and a little bit of like roasty toasty qualities from the base Imperial Stout. But it smells pretty fucking good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Definitely the best Blackwater series beer I've had in the past maybe year and a half, 2 years, in that realm. Nice. It's very nice. Is it as good as I remember? It is not. And that's probably more on my palate and me as a whole as opposed to the beer. Maybe not. All I know is kind of blew me away. But here's the thing. Their Blackwater series was a series that I kind of learned about like pastry stouts and pastry beers, and I would even say just like adjuncted stouts and imperial stouts. When I first started drinking them, there were, you couldn't just go to your local beer store and there was, 50 different crazy, adjuncted imperial stouts. It was like you had only a couple, and their Blackwater series I always look forward to because it was something different. And that's probably the memory that I'm thinking about, nostalgia kicking in and being like, oh, I remember this beer being great, right? It was in 2015. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. What I'm tasting right now is not a 4.5 out of 5, but it's still really good. So body on this one's a bit thin at 10%. I'd say more of like higher side of medium body. It's fine. The mouthfeel, mild to moderate carbonation, but it does have a smooth kind of creamy nature to it, which I appreciate it, probably from the lactose. You think the lactose maybe will help out the body a little bit more, but I feel like it also helps out the mouthfeel. So the mouthfeel better than the body. The taste, it's not overly complex. There's not a ton of things going on here. It's basically its namesake. It's mocha. It's chocolate and it's coffee and imperial stout. So right at the forefront, I get hit with a nice roasted kind of malt quality. Dives underneath the palate, and then I get that chocolate. And I'd say on the palate, the chocolate isn't as syrupy as it was in the nose. Like it did, it doesn't have that Hershey syrup or that like chocolate syrup kind of vibe. It's more of like a sweeter milk chocolate. And then right after that, I get a little bit of coffee roast. So it's mocha, but it's also more chocolate leaning, we'll say. So a little bit of like underlying fruitiness too, like a dark fruit, like a cherry into, and maybe a raisin, very slight. Underlying hits of like caramel and toffee and brown sugar, touch of molasses. As it passes through, I get a little bit of vanilla too, which is interesting. Then the back of the palate, here's the good thing about this one. Is it sweet? Yes. Is it supposed to be sweet, decadent, rich? Yeah, it's a big Imperial Stout, 10%. Blackwater Series typically means, a pastry-esque kind of feel to it. But this isn't as cloying as a lot of their other Blackwater Series beers because I think of the coffee. This leans like 60, 65% to the sweet side of things, and then like 35 to 40% to the, there's a little bit of bitterness on the back of the palate, like a mild to moderate bitterness. Not really dry, it's more bitter. But it's not like overwhelming or anything. It just balances it out to some degree, not all the way. 10%, nothing on the palate. Like there's no booziness, so kudos to them for hiding the ABV. Big warming in the chest and the stomach though. With each sip, I can feel it, and that's fine. Nice warming beer here in the middle of winter. Yeah, I mean, I'll just say it right now, not as good as I remember it being. The bottle I had in 2015 was awesome. I gave it, like I said, a 4.5 out of 5. And it was great. I think the coffee was a little bit more, it was definitely, not a little bit more, it was definitely more intense, and it had more of that mocha vibe to it, where this one is, if I was doing a blind, I don't know if I'd even say coffee, because I know that that's what they're going for. I do get a little coffee roast, but like if I was doing it blind, I would think, if I'm reviewing this one as a mystery / whodunit beer, I'd be going, yeah, the chocolate's apparent, it's heavy, it's here, but I don't know, I would say necessarily that I get any coffee. So this kind of reminds me more of their chocolate, their old school chocolate within their Blackwater Series than the Mocha. But I also love that beer, so I'm not really too disappointed with it. Good beer. Not as good as I remember, but still pretty fucking good. So I'm going to give Mocha, part of their Blackwater Series, the 2023 release. No issues giving this a high 4 out of 5. I'll go 4.1 out of 5. I think that's where this one lands. Really do enjoy this one. Yes, I do. I do enjoy it. And that's about, as far as ratings go, that's about as far as I can go as a 4.1. Like I said, yeah, I dropped it by 0.4, but it is what it is. My palate's in a way different place than 9 years ago. And, it happens. It's the best thing I can say is it happens. Anyway, put this over here. Price point availability. This is where it differs for a lot of people here in the Buffalo, New York area. I can usually find these for about $13.99 a 4-pack, so $14 a 4-pack. I know some of you out there will pay, $15, $16, even up to like $20 a 4-pack. This specific beer I would buy, for sure at $14 a 4-pack. If you start getting closer to 20, maybe not. I would only grab a single if I could. If you're somebody out there who can only get singles of this one, only get 4-packs, Depends on how much you enjoy coffee and chocolate Imperial Stouts and how much you've enjoyed this beer in the past. But I'd recommend someone picking up at least a single of this and giving it a go. And availability, it's Southern Tier. This is one of their latest releases. You should see it on the shelf if you do get Southern Tier stuff. If you see a lot of their Blackwater beers, then you should see this one. I'm sure they have a beer finder on their website. Go check it out to get more accurate availability. But yeah, here's the thing. Am I disappointed? Slightly. Because, again, I remember this beer being better, but when you take everything into consideration, it is what it is. There's a lot of beers I drink nowadays where I used to love, and I'm just like, oh, they're good. And there's a lot of beers I used to dislike or not really care for that I love now. So it is what it is. And that's why I like reviewing these and revisiting these beers, because you never know how your palate's going to treat it, 8, 9 years down the line. And while I can safely say that I do enjoy this one, I think it's a well-made, Imperial Mocha Stout. It's a little bit lacking from what I remember it being, but that's probably more on me than the brewery itself. So if you've had this one before or the prior releases of this one, did you enjoy it more back in the day? Do you enjoy the current version more? It would have been really cool to do like a side-by-side of an age version, but of course the coffee and the chocolate probably will fade in the older version, so maybe not that great of an idea. But that's the Beer Patrol. Not that great of an idea. That should be my slogan. Anyway, shutting it down. Check back next Wednesday for another Western New York Wednesday. I have no idea what I'm reviewing, but it's probably going to be a beer from the Western New York area, because that's how we roll. Till the next one. Cheers. Oh, hang on. Not cheers. They do have a little bit of a story time here. If you read to the end, and I did this in a recent review where I said, Jack's Abbey, the side-by-side, it was like a 22-minute review. I said, post in the comment section, German chocolate cake. It was funny. There was probably like 4 or 5 people who did post German chocolate cake, and a lot of people who just post comments. I know who doesn't watch the end now. I know it. Anyway, it says the anytime treat. And of course, their font is super tiny and like, it's ridiculous. Mokah is making its Blackwater Series return. That's what I said. And I didn't honestly, I did not read this, so that's pretty wild. Bringing together swirls of robust coffee. Not really. Rich and decadent chocolate. Sure. And warm roasted malts. Yes, Mokah is the anytime stout that'll wake up your taste buds. All right. I don't know if I needed to add on like an extra minute to this review, but I just did. Anyway, to the next one. Cheers.